Right, welcome back to yet another video. Today we will be taking a look at a dialogue system. Now we'll be using a plugin that I recently found, which is Dialogue Manager, and we will use it for a little bit of a basic example of how you can make your own dialogue systems inside of Godot. So the first thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and download the actual plugin, so we can come over to the asset lib. And in here we want to search for Dialogue Manager, and it'll be this purple icon right here. And then we want to go ahead and download this, and we just want to install, which will be fine. Then we have installed it into our project, but first we want to also go ahead and make sure that on plugins we have actually enabled the plugin for this project. Another way you could do this is come over to project settings and then plugins, and over here you could also see that we have now enabled it. Then what we want to do is we want to set up a basic example. Now the project comes with an example dialog, so we can use that for now. So what we want to do is I have a little bit of a basic scene set up to just show this quick example. On our player here, we want to go ahead and add a new script for me, or you could add this into an existing script you have. But for this example right now, I'll just trigger the dialog when we hit the spacebar. But first, we want to go ahead and actually make a dialog, right? So we can come over to the dialog tab, and over here we can make a new dialog file in which we will write our dialog. Now I'll make a new folder and name it dialog. And in here we will just add a main dialog file. Now it comes with a simple tutorial here, so we can actually get rid of this. So let's name this start, and we'll start with myself asking if you guys are subscribed, and if you're not, please do so. So this can basically be done to define separate characters, and then if you want to have options in there, you could also go ahead and do that as well. But for now, I'll just go ahead and do this for a quick example. So I'll just simply say, are you subscribed? And then Chris answers with, yes, I am. So we need to keep this name in mind because this will be used when we actually go ahead and add it to our code to make sure that we know from which point we want to start our dialog. So then back in our player script, we just simply go ahead and check if the spacebar was just touched, and if it was, we simply trigger the dialog just for this example. So how we can do this with a preset example dialog, we can go ahead and reference the dialog manager, and then we can show an example dialog balloon. Now the resource is the dialog we have just created, so we can do res dialog and then the main dialog. We obviously want to load this actually, like so. And then the second parameter will be where we want to start from. So in our case, it's the start title we set up in our dialog system. Now, if you change this, you obviously have to change this in the player script as well. And now we can just simply run this code. And now when we hit spacebar, we can see that the actual dialog example shows up right here. And we can just go through this and it'll simply go ahead and send that message. Now we can see that we don't have Chris actually saying anything because we need to make some options to make sure that the player has a decision to make if he is subscribed or isn't, and then we can do something based on that information. So that's something we'll add right now. So for adding the options, you can simply go ahead and type out a single hyphen and then just the name of the option. So in this case, I am subscribed. And then what we can do is we can hit tab, and then we can actually say, yes, I am. So Chris is no longer needed down there. And we can have another option with no, and then Chris answers, I'll subscribe right now, right? So now what will happen is we have two separate options when we start the dialog. By default, the options are right here, but I'll show you later on in the video on where you can actually customize this balloon, it's called in Dialog Manager, to match your own needs, and you can do anything you want with it. So for now, we'll just hit yes, and then we can see that Chris said that he is subscribed. And for example, when we do no, it'll say, I'll subscribe right now. Alright, so now for actually customizing our dialog, we can go ahead and use the tooling that is provided by Dialog Manager. Now over here under project, we can go to tools, and then it'll show you create a copy of dialog example balloon. Now once we click on this, it asks us where we want to go ahead and copy the balloon into. So in our case, we'll use dialog. And then we can see we have a new balloon scene. And once we open that up, we can also see that everything is in here, and we can now go ahead and customize this the way we want. So in here, for example, we have all of these things we can change. For now, I'll just go ahead and change the font size a little bit, I guess. So it's a little bit bigger, and that way it's also easier to see what we have changed. So there we go, we changed the text right there, and then for the dialog, we'll also just override the font size. So you could do anything with this. If, for example, you want the responses to be in a different place, we could just, for example, move it up here. Now this is obviously not a beautiful choice, but yeah, we can just show you the different things you could do. Font size, we'll change that to 32 as well, so that we can see it's quite big, and we know that we have actually changed something. So then in our player script, we want to actually change the code up a bit, because we no longer use the example dialog balloon, and we want to use our own custom balloon. So we can just simply go ahead and reference our balloon right here. So dialog and then the balloon scene. And then in here we can simply go ahead and create that new scene. Now it is a canvas layer, and then we just initialize or instantiate that balloon scene. We want to make sure we add it to the tree, obviously. And then we can go ahead and start the dialog by typing balloon.start. And then we want to load our dialog again. And also where we want to start our dialog, which is still the start name here. And then what we can do is we simply run this code again. And now we can see it still works the same, but now we have an increased font size, and we have also changed up the options to be aligned on the left instead of on the right. So that was already it for this video. It is a bit of a shorter one because I honestly didn't really have a lot of time this week to go more in depth. But this is certainly something I'm willing to do if you are looking to, or if you want me to expand on this. Please let me know in the comments, and I can just go ahead and make another video going into a bit more depth by adding variables, for example, or doing something or interacting with the world, which could also cause a trigger of a certain dialogue, or anything else you want me to do. Just let me know in the comments, and I will see when I make another video about that. So thanks again for watching. Please subscribe if you aren't already, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.